Hi, this is Grapefruit Juice, and today I'm going to be showing you my Yuna obi for my Summoner Yuna cosplay. And basically I'm just going to show you what materials I picked and how I constructed my obi, just to help those of you who need maybe some help making yours. It's not really a you have to do it this way kind of thing. It's more of a guide, maybe to help you figure out what you want to do and just show you another way to do it. So, first of all, I'll start off with the main belt of my obi, which is made out of a yellow cotton with interfacing, with a real stiff interfacing. This is the interfacing I used. It's this kind. I believe it is Helen brand. And it worked really well for me because it's just stiff enough to keep your obi stiff and upright, but it's not so much that it won't bend. Because you really need it. You need it to stay stiff around your waist, but you don't want it to be unbendable. So yeah. And then also inside my obi, as you can see, it's basically like a sock shape. Inside my obi there's a light felt, which I found really helpful in making it really look like a real Japanese obi. And as you can see, this is how it works. It's just a long belt. It's about 6 inches tall, and it velcros. This is actually the back, but I'm just velcroing it here to show you. And yeah, it just velcros at the back like so, and then you twist it around to your front, and here it is on basically. So yeah, as you can see, it's nice and tall. It'll actually look a little better when I'm not sitting funny and standing up straight, but as you can see, it's straight around the waist and it stays nice and flat. So yeah, the reason I picked a Velcro instead of a zipper is a Velcro can be expanded for later if I'm larger when I get older, so I can rewear the cosplay many, many, many times. So about the paint, and the paint I used was just a fabric paint I bought at my local Joann's, and I just picked the colors I wanted, and then I drew on the obi what the pattern looked like from a reference picture. Always use references. Always. Always, always, always use references. Because if you try to go from memory, it won't look quite right, and then you'll kind of not be happy with it. And that's what happened to me when I did my first cosplay for Sakura from Naruto Shippuden. I got a bright pink fabric instead of a red fabric for this shirt, and it just didn't look quite right. And so when I got home and looked at the reference, I went, oh no, and I returned the fabric. So yeah, always use references. That's how I keep mine from, I don't know, making me not happy. I mean, if you want to change it from the reference, go ahead. If it makes you happy and you're happy with it, it's totally fine. I just like to have mine accurate because that's what makes me happy. So, about the belt, basically how I constructed it was I took the yellow fabric and I measured out 6 inches for my height, plus an inch for the seam along the top here. You can see there's a seam around here. And then I measured around my waist, and then I took my waist measurement and made the obi this much long plus 13 inches because you need to be able to fold it up and then make the seam. Okay, so it's kind of hard to show you without a picture, but basically what you do is you take your waist measurement and add an inch for the seams at the ends, or more. I actually did more just to keep it safe, and then folded it in more. So you might want to add more than an inch just to keep it safe. So what you do is you do it long waist, your waist size, plus a couple inches, give or take a few, and then you give it about, I did 6 inches because I have a pretty short waist. If you have a longer waist, you can go to 7, 7.5, or if you have a longer waist, 7, 7.5, or if you even have a shorter torso, you may want to go to 5.5. So yeah, that's basically what I did, and then I folded it in half and sewed it right sides together, and turned it back inside out, and I added the interfacing on the inside. Basically slipped it in like a sock. It was 6 inches tall because the sock was 6 inches tall, and then I did the same with the felt. So yeah, that's the basic belt part. Let's move on to the hibiscus flower, which will sit, I think, on this side of the obi, right here, and then these two, the little tassel things that come off the obi. I know a lot of people have a lot of trouble with these. Basically, what I did is, you can see at the top here, there's little eyelets which are screwed into 2 dowels that I painted the right color blue. And then to cover it up, what I did is I made some clay beads out of Sculpey that are big enough, but that are like wide enough, but will cover the eyelet at the end. So that's basically how I did it. Oh, I know a lot of people use foam and different kinds, but this is basically how I did it. It's really light, it's easy, it'll be easy to hold on, and then the top, the little beads will fit over it, and it'll look great. So yeah, that's how I did it. And then the tassels at the bottom are just embroidery tied. This gave me a lot of trouble, the hibiscus flower. Not finding references, which I used another reference for it, but it's actually made out of a different kind of Sculpey. It's, I think, the pearl kind, which I find easier to paint on because it's a little more matte than the white kind. And then, yeah, basically I just painted it on with acrylic paint. I had to buy a new red because I didn't have the right red, but you paint with acrylic paint, it'll stay on, it won't get, if it gets wet, it won't run, it won't do anything. And then there's 2 holes in it, which I will run cord through, and then attach to the tassels, and then it'll just sit right about there. So yeah, that's that part. If you have any questions about the brand of paint I used, you can message me about that. Okay, so on to the part I know a lot of people have a lot of trouble with, is the bow. So the bow, I know a lot of people have a lot of trouble with constructing. So basically, my bow, you can't really tell very well, but it's basically, as you can see here, 4 rectangles that I sewed. Well, I painted them first. Always paint first and then sew. I painted them first, and then I folded, I think these are 16-inch long rectangles that are folded in half, and these are 18-inch rectangles that are folded in half. And I folded them in half and then pleated them to give that nice bow look. And then I hot glued them to a base. You can see the base here is actually a piece of cardboard covered in the same felt that I used for the belt part of the obi, and then covered it in fabric just to give it that nice look in case anybody looks through this over at the side. They don't see, oh, there's cardboard. And then the middle piece is just 3 inches wide. These, oh, by the way, the bow pieces are both 6 inches tall, just like the belt part of the obi. So the middle piece is 3 inches wide, just enough to cover the hot gluing and everything, and it looks like a real Japanese obi. And the way I'm going to attach it is kind of tricky, but it's the way real Japanese obis are made. They're not real, the fake Japanese obis, but I'm going to take a piece of wire. It's basically going to sit right here, like this, and then the belt, well, this is kind of hard to illustrate, but the belt will fit up like this, so it'll sit on top of the belt. And yeah, so it's going to sit right about here on the obi. As you can see, that looks real nice. So yeah, that's basically all I can show you today because I'm about 45% done with the costume. So if you have any more questions about how I'm going to construct anything, please just message me on my YouTube account or my Tumblr, which is quirkygrapefruit.tumblr.com. Okay, so just send me an ask. Okay, bye.